This single smirk has just shattered the entire WNBA and exposed the biggest fraud in the league. One viral camera angle has changed everything we thought we knew about the most heated rivalry in women's basketball. The moment Caitlin Clark laughed behind Angel Reese after that brutal overtime miss is not just a clip. It is the final piece of evidence that proves this rivalry is no longer a competition. It is a complete and total domination. The basketball world is on fire, and the fallout from this one interaction will be felt for the rest of the season.
Yo, if you love real basketball stories, deep dives, and the drama behind the game, you're in the right place. But if you want to take it to the next level, hit that join button. Members get exclusive content, early access, and behind-the-scenes drops you won't see anywhere else. Plus, you're directly supporting the channel and helping us bring you even better content. So if you rock with Basketball Spilled, become a member today. Let's keep the game alive.
The game was over, but the real story was just beginning. The Indiana Fever had just stolen a victory in overtime against the Atlanta Dream, and what happened on the court in the final seconds is what everyone is talking about right now. Angel Reese had the ball in her hands with the game on the line, and she went up for a tip-in that could have sent the Dream to a win. She missed, and she choked under the brightest lights. But the miss was not the only thing that broke the internet, because what Caitlin Clark did the moment the ball clanked off the rim is the real headline here. Clark walked right behind Reese with a wry smile and a bit of a laugh, and she did not hide it. She did not cover her mouth, and she let the entire world see exactly what she thought of Reese's epic failure. This is not just basketball anymore, because this is psychological warfare at its highest level. Clark stood there on the court and watched her biggest rival crumble, and instead of showing pity or sportsmanship, she chose to laugh right in her face. That smirk was the ultimate power move, and it was Clark looking at Reese and saying, "You are not on my level." It was the final dagger in a rivalry that has been building for years, and Clark knew exactly what she was doing. She knew the cameras were on her, and she knew the world was watching, but she did not care one bit. She wanted everyone to see that she had won this battle and the war, and that was not a reaction. That was a calculated statement from a killer. Let us go back to the exact moment, because the details are what matter most here. The Fever are clinging to a lead in overtime, and the energy in the building is suffocating. Reese gets positioned under the basket, and she is fighting for the rebound. The ball comes off the rim, and it falls right into her hands, and this is the moment where stars are made. This is the moment where legends are born, and Reese has the chance to silence all the critics who say she cannot perform in the clutch. She jumps and she extends her arms, and she goes for the putback that would tie the game or give the Dream the lead. But the basketball does not listen to the narrative because it hits the back of the rim and it falls out in a brutal miss. The air leaves the building, and right there in the chaos of the moment, Clark is walking past her. Now pay close attention to the body language, because that is where the truth is hidden from the casual fan. Clark does not just walk by because she slows down and she looks directly at Reese. The smile spreads across her face, and it is not a polite smile at all. It is the grin of a competitor who knows she just watched her rival fail, and it is a smug acknowledgement of victory. Her teammates are celebrating around her, and the Fever bench is erupting, but Clark is focused on one thing, and one thing only. She is focused on the reaction of the player who has been trying to tear her down since college, and in that single frame of footage, Clark proved that she lives inside Reese's head. She has the rent receipt, and she is evicting her for good. The irony of this moment is so thick you could cut it with a knife. This is the same Angel Reese who taunted Caitlin Clark in the national championship game when she did a hand gesture and pointed to her ring finger. She mocked Clark for not having a championship, and she talked about how she was the real queen of college basketball. She wanted the smoke, and she wanted the rivalry, and she fed off the hatred. But now the tables have completely turned, and the basketball gods have a sick sense of humor. The very player Reese tried to embarrass is now laughing in her face after she choked on the biggest stage. That is not a rivalry anymore, because that is karma coming back to bite you in the worst possible way. Let us break down the psychological impact that this moment has on Reese, because it goes deeper than just a missed shot. We are talking about a player who built her entire brand on confidence and trash talk, because she is the one who celebrates the hardest. She is the one who talks the most smack, and she is the one who thrives on the hatred of the crowd. But where was that energy when it mattered most? And where was that swagger when the game was on the line? It was gone, and it vanished into thin air. Clark saw it, and Clark capitalized on it. That laugh was not just about the missed shot, because it was about exposing the entire facade. It was Clark telling the world that when the pressure is at its absolute peak, Reese falls like a cheap suit, and the psychology is completely broken now. Think about the timing of this incident, because it makes the betrayal even worse for the Dream and their fans. This happened in overtime, and this is the most stressful part of the game, where every possession matters. Every player is tired, and every muscle in their body is screaming, and this is where the champions separate themselves from the pretenders. Clark had just led her team to a victory, and she had orchestrated the plays that put the Fever in a position to win. She was the general on the battlefield, and as she walked off the court, she looked at her fallen enemy and laughed. It is the ultimate sign of disrespect, and it is the moment that defines the entire season for both teams going forward. Now we have to shift our focus to the villain of the story, because in this version of the narrative, Clark is the hero who is finally fighting back. The media wants you to believe that Clark is the bully, and they want you to feel sorry for Reese. They want you to think that Clark crossed a line, but this is the same Angel Reese who ran her mouth endlessly. This is the same Angel Reese who made a career out of celebrating other people's misery, and she is the one who started this whole thing. She is the one who turned a beautiful rivalry into a circus, and she wanted to be the villain. She embraced that role with open arms, but now that Clark is giving it back to her, the sympathy tour is starting. You cannot be the aggressive trash talker and then cry foul when the competition talks back to you. Let us look at the history of this villain's behavior, because it paints a clear picture of her character for everyone watching. Reese was known for her antics in college, where she would wave her hand in front of opponents' faces. She would stare down players after making a basket, and she would taunt the crowd while feeding off the booze. She was the aggressor, and she was the one who wanted to make the game personal. When she beat Clark in the title game, she made sure the entire world knew about it, because she did not take the high road. She took the victory lap and made sure to rub it in while she laughed and pointed and mocked. So why is everyone so shocked that Clark is doing the exact same thing to her? It is because the narrative is being flipped and the media wants to protect the player who is losing the rivalry. Take a look at the stats, because the numbers do not lie, and they never have. While Reese is known for her rebounding, and her motor, Clark is the one who changes the entire geometry of the court. Clark is the one who makes everyone around her better, and Clark is the one who has the ball in her hands in the clutch, because she wants the pressure. She does not shrink from it, and she embraces it with everything she has. She shoots the deep threes, and she makes the impossible passes, and she is the engine that drives the Fever. When the game is tight, she is the one who delivers, but Reese was given the ball at the rim. She had the easiest look she will get all season, and it was a layup and a tip-in. It was the play that she is supposed to make, and she failed completely. The contrast could not be more clear, because Clark lives for the moment while Reese crumbles in it. This incident has now fractured the league in a way that we have never seen before, and this is not just about two teams. This is about the soul of the WNBA, and the league has been pushing the Clark versus Reese rivalry as the golden goose. They have put them on posters, and they have scheduled primetime games around them. They have sold tickets based on the hatred, and now the monster they created is eating them alive. The fans are taking sides, and the players are taking sides, and the locker rooms are being torn apart by the weight of this tribal warfare. The Fever and the Dream are being dragged into a civil war that has nothing to do with the actual game plan, because it is all about the egos, and it is all about the pride. Clark just landed the knockout blow, and the reverberations are shaking the entire foundation. The repercussions of this smirk are going to be massive, and we are talking about a potential playoff matchup that is looming on the horizon. If the Fever and the Dream end up as the 4 and 5 seeds, this clip will be played on a loop, and the hype will be uncontrollable. The intensity will be off the charts, and the handshake line will be the most awkward moment in sports history. You think the regular season was intense, and you think the trash talk was bad, but you have no idea what is coming. Clark has laid down the gauntlet, and she has thrown the first punch, and now she has laughed about it. The next time these two teams meet, it is going to be a war, and there is no other way to describe it. It is going to be pure chaos from the opening tip to the final buzzer. We need to look at the reaction of the Fever locker room, because that is where the true story is being written right now. The veterans on that team know exactly what Clark did, and they saw it, and they heard it, and they loved it. They have been waiting for a player with this kind of killer instinct, and they have been waiting for a leader who is not afraid to step on the throat of the opponent. Clark is not just a rookie, because she is a ruthless competitor, and she is the alpha dog. She is the one who is going to lead this team to a championship, and she is doing it by breaking the spirit of the other teams. She is doing it by getting inside the heads of her rivals, And that is what legends do. That is what separates the greats from the goods in this league. But do not expect the dream to just roll over because they have their own egos and their own pride. Reese is not going to just forget this, and she is going to remember this laugh for a long time. She is going to hear it in her nightmares, and she is going to see that smirk every time she closes her eyes, and that is exactly the point. Clark is living rent-free in her head, and she owns that space completely. She has bought the property, and she is not leaving anytime soon. Reese is going to press, and she is going to try to prove herself, and she is going to try to get revenge. That is when the real meltdown happens, because when a player tries too hard, they make mistakes, and they force bad shots, and they lose their composure. Clark has already won the mental battle, and the physical battle is just a formality at this point. The ultimate judgment on this moment is simple, and it cuts straight to the bone. Caitlin Clark has sealed her fate as the most polarizing player in the league, and Angel Reese has sealed her fate as the player who could not back up the talk. The dynamic between these two teams will never be the same, and the trust is gone and the respect is gone. The rivalry has officially entered a new phase where it is no longer about basketball, but about humiliation and dominance. It is about one player proving that she is the true queen of a court, and Clark drew first blood, and she drew the last blood. She did it with a smile on her face, and the WNBA will never recover from this. The fallout is just beginning, and the only question that remains is who will be left standing when the dust finally settles on this bitter war.